Yeah. Can
There
you
we
guys hear
go.
me?
Okay, let me start by saying you look like the chairman of Foxtrot.
What do you mean by that,
picture.
Caitlin? He just looks, he's
Doesn't
got that
he?
chairman vibe, yeah.
Yeah, you look so posh and
He is
cool,
a
and your
posh-looking
glasses
guy,
and
yeah.
the beard and all. Well, thank you for joining us this morning.
The glasses do a lot of the work, I promise.
I love it. So, are you excited about your new opening?
Oh, I'm excited for many reasons. You know, Lincoln Park was our second store ever back in the day. I think we probably opened 7, 8 years ago. And so getting to reopen in the neighborhood is really exciting. And it's also the one that I personally live closest to. So
Oh, there you
excited for
go.
many reasons.
What's your favorite thing available at Foxtrot, Mike?
It depends on the time of day, where the answers are very different. But in the mornings, I got to go with their breakfast tacos. They're amazing. They've been the number one selling thing on our menu for, many years, and they're certainly my favorite.
I have friends from Austin, Texas,
Yes.
and down in Texas,
Uh-huh.
breakfast tacos are just the thing.
So, do you like hard shell tacos?
They're not hard
these
shell
are
typically.
burritos?
They're like mini burritos, I would say, or mini tacos. Now you got a couple of locations in Dallas as well. Did you find that they were a natural fit down there? Because I know I've never been to Dallas, but when I go to Austin, it is all about the breakfast tacos, Mike.
For sure. So, I'm from Chicago, grew up here, obviously live here. I did a quick stint in Austin after college, sort of met my co-founder for Foxtrot. And so that is where I fell in love with breakfast tacos. And, as we opened up in Dallas, they were a big hit there as well. But I definitely think it's more fun to get better access to those here in Chicago.
Sure.
Okay, I'm going to ask you the burning question we've all been wondering. Will you please walk us through what happened with all the closures and then the reopenings? Because I know we talked about it on the news, and everybody was devastated because Foxtrot was closing. But then we had the story, it seemed like a short time later, that you guys were reopening. So what happened?
One by one. Yeah,
Yes.
run us through
Yeah,
from
I
your
mean,
vantage
it
point.
was a really sad situation. I mean, there's sort of no way else to put it. I think the company just grew too big too fast, and it was just I don't know how else to say it. It was a really sad, really unfortunate situation. But getting myself to come back to the company last summer and get to hire a bunch of folks back and get to really work with all the local vendors again, which is why I started the business in the first place, has been it's been a lot of work over the last year to kind of get us back to where we are now, but it's been really rewarding at the same time.
I've seen this in movies. Okay, I've never opened a business, obviously, but is it one of those things where you open up and then it's like it kind of rolls out of control and then you kind of have to like gather it back and then reestablish yourself? Is that kind of what you're describing?
Yeah, and just getting back to basics, right? I mean, I think what people loved about Foxtrot is they could walk in the door and find a bunch of amazing local products that they could discover for the first time or hadn't seen anywhere else. And as the company got bigger, we started carrying more items, and it just really grew to a place that in my opinion kind of wasn't the heart of why we started. And so as we reopened stores last fall, it was really getting back to basics and working with our local vendors again, and really having a tight point of view on, this is why we carry this beer, this is why we carry this wine, this is our favorite donut, and this is why it's in store. And I think customers, really appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. Will you kind of let's drill down a little bit and talk about the breakfast tacos, for example. Like, where can you kind of walk us through where do those come from? Like the ingredients, and like how do you guys bring those to market?
Yeah, a lot of taste testing, which is definitely the most fun part of the job. So right now we've got a barbacoa going. We've got a bacon, which is this like amazing double smoked like peppered bacon. They're incredible. We've got a rajas, which is kind of like a veggie taco if you're trying to be like a little bit healthy.
Yeah.
And then this bean and potato one as well. And then they're all made on El Milagro tortillas that are made right here in Chicago.
So if someone's never been to a Foxtrot, what can they expect when they walk in? So you're talking about food. I mentioned you guys have coffee. Is it a store? Is it a restaurant? What is Foxtrot?
We've been trying to, figure out how to answer that question for about a decade now. But if you were to walk into your store right now, it very much is a coffee shop, right? So coffee drives the majority of our sales kind of from early in the morning until early in the afternoon. So it's people getting, matcha lattes and espresso and kind of hanging out, having meetings, working on their laptop. It's like really how folks start their day. And then in the afternoon, it shifts more towards the market. So people coming in and grabbing a bottle of wine after work, or a pint of ice cream, or cookies, or gummies, or kind of all the fun things that, get you through the afternoon in the evening. The stores typically have like 30-ish seats in them. And then now, finally, this week that the weather looks like we're hopefully out of the clear here, the patios have opened up. And so, people are kind of hanging out on the patio as well. But I would think about it kind of, the place for a great coffee in the morning. And then at night, we've got a great selection of awesome wine and craft beer as well.
So great, so great. Now, Webster's a beautiful street. I love how it's like tree lined, but there's also little ma and pa stores that line the street. It's always one of my favorites to drive down if I'm trying to cut through the neighborhoods instead of going those main arterials. How did you choose this most recent, the one that's about to open up?
So, as I said, selfishly, I live 2 blocks away from it. And so I've been staring at this building and being like, we got to get a Foxtrot here. But, it's really similar to how we opened up the first few in Chicago, which are finding these just great neighborhood locations where, we can have a bit of space, we can have a patio, we can have a place where there's enough seating for, folks to kind of come in and hang out. I think we saw, just a lot of the big kind of national guys are pulling out of neighborhoods, and there's like not a lot of places to go and just like meet a friend and hang out, and spaces that aren't necessarily a bar, that aren't necessarily a restaurant, but like really that kind of cliched third space. And we find when we go like a bit deeper into neighborhoods, we can get more space and kind of get to have a fuller expression of the stores. So our team is all based in Chicago. We all live in neighborhoods across the city, and so some of it is, looking the data and figuring out kind of where we think a store would do well. But a lot of it is just, folks on the team really wanting a neighborhood or a store in their neighborhood, and us, finding the right space.
So how do you feel about like Northwest Indiana? Selfishly, that's
Caitlin lives near Crown Point.
We are starting, yes, we are, it's funny, when we started this, we were all like 25 and everyone lived, downtown, and now no one's 25 anymore and everyone's got kids and we're spreading out. And so the suburb talk is at the top of our agenda.
Northern suburbs right here. You guys would crush it up in my neck of the woods, between here and Ravinia.
I could see that.
Let's get serious though for a second. Like, where you got 2 locations in Dallas? Are those the only ones that are out of town?
Yes, I mean, the company had 8 across Dallas and Austin, and then we had a few in DC as well.
Okay.
So when we reopened, we like really wanted to. It was important that we really focused on the markets that we knew best. I mean, that's what makes Foxtrot is having a deep connection with the local vendors and knowing what's going on in our cities. And the 2 that we knew best are Chicago and Dallas. And so, that's where we started. That's where we're going to be for the next, several years here. But, I can't lie. It's nice to have a place in Texas open in the, depths of the Chicago winter.
Yes. Yeah. A little escape route.
Yes.
So the plan is for the foreseeable future, you're going to really kind of reestablish your base here in Chicago and those locations in Dallas. Long term, big picture, is this going to go even wider?
We'll see. I think right now we've got so much opportunity in Chicago. When the company closed, we had 15 locations in Chicago. We've got Webster will, be our 7th. So there's still a lot of neighborhoods here that we want to reopen in, and we are pretty serious about the suburbs as well. So there's just a lot of room left to go here in Chicago, and that's where we're focused right now.
I love it. Chicago.
Yes. All right, Mike. Hey, good luck with this. I'll call it a relaunch. I know that there are so many locals. They were heartbroken when things shut down. But it's great to see these locations popping back up in the different neighborhoods.
And it was heartbreaking, but listen, we're talking about it now.
Yes.
So it was hard, but look at you now.
Yes.
And all over the news.
Yeah, we're definitely excited to be back.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. Thanks for coming on the program. We appreciate it. And I had to stop
Bye.
by for some of those breakfast tacos. Thanks, Mike.